What's good, YouTube? It's Justice. I used to be Pay, and today I'm back with another video. And if you're new here, I'll explain to you the rules, but if you're not new here, just listen anyway. So basically, what we have on this channel is a handshake agreement. If you watch my content, you have to subscribe. It's just an honor code system. It's kind of like going to Costco and the sign says take a sample. You're only supposed to take one sample, so only take one. Just follow the rules. Don't be that guy. I mean, I get it. Technically, I can't do anything to you if you don't follow the rules, but help me out. Don't be that guy. It doesn't cost you anything, and it doesn't, cost you any extra effort to subscribe or like. So please leave a like, leave a subscribe, do all that. But today I'm going to be talking about Destroy Lonely and his new project, If Looks Could Kill, but not necessarily the project in itself. I might talk about it a little bit, but more so to do with the sales and what this could mean for Destroy Lonely and what this does mean for Destroy Lonely. So if you haven't looked or haven't seen, if Looks Could Kill is currently on pace to sell 34K. So I'm going to round throughout this video. Sometimes I'll say 35K. Sometimes I'll say 30K because the sales do tend to drop or go up by a little bit by the time Friday or Saturday comes. So I'm recording this on a Wednesday. So who knows what the final sales would be at this moment. But right now it's on pace to sell 34K. And that is way more than what I thought this project had the capability of selling. Now, I knew that this was probably going to be the first project that really gets reported in terms of sales for Destroy Lonely, like gets reported in like the, 15 to 25,000 first week sales, but I did not expect 30 or 35. I didn't expect that. Those are actually very solid numbers, especially for Destroy Lonely. And what that says is that Destroy Lonely has the eye of the mainstream audience. He has their attention now. He may not be, a huge star, super huge breakout star at the moment, but he's getting there. And I thought that this was a perfect time when I saw the lineup for what was being dropped the same day as If Looks Could Kill. I thought it was the perfect time to drop because there was no other major artist dropping that same day. Obviously, other people were dropping, but there was nobody like a Kodak Black or a Lil Durk or NBA YoungBoy or even like Drake. There was nobody that was a super huge mainstream star that was also dropping a project on that same day. So anybody that really listens to that type of stuff, your Rap Caviar listeners, other people who listen to stuff, in that kind of bubble, they didn't really have anything new to listen to. So by proxy, they just some of them just went and listened to the Destroy Lonely album because they're like, oh, I've heard of this guy. I know he, has some sort of affiliation with Cardi and they're kind of similar. So let me go listen. And that helped him out a ton. The timing of this album being dropped was just perfect. Absolutely perfect. I couldn't have done it better myself. Couldn't have done it better myself. Perfect timing. So that definitely helped him out a lot. But also, it was just kind of time. Like you could just kind of feel it. I said this on my podcast, the Paycheck Podcast, which was recorded about a week ago or 2 weeks ago or something like that. And I said, you can just kind of feel it in the air that it's kind of time for Destroy Lonely to start breaking into the mainstream. In my opinion, out of the group of Opium, which is, him, Ken Carson, and Homicide Gang, he's always had the most potential. He may not be the best in Opium. I think at this point in time, it's kind of a toss-up between him and Ken Carson, at least in my opinion. But he's always had the most potential to me. He's always felt like the one who was going to be the biggest star. Now, maybe I'm wrong. It's still very early in all their careers. And, maybe 5 years down the line, we're talking about Homicide Gang as the biggest rap group in the world or Ken Carson as one of the biggest rappers and not Destroy Lonely. But just to me, it's always felt like he was the one with the star potential. He's the one that kind of has that aura, to quote Twitter recently. So I always thought that he would kind of be the first one to really break out. But I didn't expect it to be this much. He's selling pretty much what Yeat sold maybe on his project before Afterlife. So he's on pace to really close the gap. And I said this on my podcast as well. I think Destroy Lonely is going to be the guy from the underground to kind of close the gap between Yeat and himself. Because as of right now, from the guys that are like in that underground bubble, like Ken Carson, Ken Carson, Yeat, Summers, Sofago, Autumn, like all those guys that were kind of grouped together. Yeat was the one that took off and became mainstream, and then the rest of them were just kind of sitting ducks for the moment. Obviously, some of them were increasing their popularity, like Ken Carson and like Destroy Lonely, but none of them were really like catching up to Yeat or like really, on his trails or anything like that. But I thought that Destroy Lonely would be the guy to kind of catch up to him, and he is. He's the guy that's really, following right behind Yeat and trying to close that gap, and I think he will eventually. Not now, maybe not in the next couple months, but I think eventually he will close the gap to where it's like, okay, when people talk about this new generation of rappers, they're talking about Yeat and they're talking about Destroy Lonely. Kind of like how there was a conversation around Yeat and Sofago, but obviously Sofago isn't at the level of Yeet at this moment. So, yeah, I really thought that Destroy Lonely would be the guy to close that gap, and he's kind of proving me right by selling 35K. And the 35K, 30K, those aren't like blow you out of the waters numbers, but at this point, those are like pretty solid. Like you could compare him to some guys in mainstream music who are selling around the same. He's not that far behind. Obviously, YoungBoy drops like 40 projects a year, but he's selling around some of YoungBoy's projects from last year. And obviously, again, there's a lot of context behind YoungBoy's numbers, but still, like that just proves that there is a solid fan base, and there's a solid number of people who are looking for Destroy Lonely's music. And I've also heard a lot of people say that because he's becoming his own star, he really needs to kind of get away from that Opium branding, kind of how like Cardi got away from the ASAP branding as he got bigger. But I really disagree. I think Opium and the aesthetic surrounding it and the fan base, like I think it's perfect for Destroy Lonely, and I think he's really capitalizing off of it because he is Opium. The brand itself is Destroy Lonely. Like, not saying that he's the only one that matters to the brand, but I mean like in terms of aesthetic, in terms of, fan base, like it all fits him so perfectly that it makes no sense for him to leave Opium or try to distance himself from the other acts in Opium. He is Opium. Like, he benefits so much off of that image, and I think we saw it in his sales. Like, it's not just the music. The music is good. Let me get that out the way. The music that Destroy Lonely's putting out is good. It's very good. But also, it's the image as well. The image is selling itself. The image is selling itself. The clothes are selling. I don't know about literally they're selling, but I mean all these things, the clothing, the image, the social media presence, all that stuff is helping sell Destroy Lonely. And it's such an integral part of him at this moment that I think he needs to continue to be an Opium. I think he needs to continue to involve himself in the group and not try to, distance himself just because he's getting bigger. No, he's benefiting so much off of this Opium aesthetic and everything like that. Like, it makes no sense. I don't know why people are saying that. But also, to the people saying he's better than Cardi or he's better than Cardi was at his at the same level in their career, slow down a little bit. Just slow down a little bit. Just slow down a little bit. But he's definitely making great strides into becoming a huge star, and I think he will increase his popularity in the next couple of months to a year. Like, I don't think he's just gonna hit 34K and then be stagnant and stay there or go down. I think this is the start of him increasing and just going up all around, because I really do believe that Destroy Lonely is a star. I really do believe that. He has the star potential. He has the star aesthetic. Everything about him just kind of screams star, and people are starting to see that. And I thought he would go mainstream, but it's just really early. It's just really early to me. It's a lot earlier of a timeline than what I expected, and that's a great sign. And it honestly shows that this Opium label is a success. Like, I know, people talk about it and, Opium this and Opium that, and there's a lot of, diehard fans for that label and, those rappers, but it's not just hype. It's not just a little group that, makes underground music and they're cool and they're like little Cardi clones. No, they're serious. This is a real thing. This is a movement that's serious. It is. And it's successful. And these artists are growing, and these artists' careers are furthering. They're not just, kind of stalling and, we're in Opium and we're associated with Cardi. We're Cardi's clones, no, they have their own little vibe apart from Cardi. Obviously, a lot of their image derives from Cardi, but they have their own little bubble. And these Opium artists aren't just, little stepping stools for Cardi to make some money off of. No, this is a real thing. This is a real movement. This is a real label. And they're really getting somewhere. And whoever is handling their careers, I don't know if Cardi is directly telling them what to do, and I don't know the whole chain of command at the Opium headquarters, but they're doing a fantastic job. Whoever is running Opium and helping these artists on a day-to-day basis, they're doing a fantastic job, because Destroy Lonely is on his way to being a star, and he's going to be the guy that they're comparing to Yeet. And at least in my opinion, he's going to be the guy that, people like academics or people kind of adjacent to him or his fans are going to be looking at and saying, okay, we got Destroy Lonely and we got Yeet. These are the two new guys who are coming up from this kind of different generation. They kind of sound a little weird, but, they're comparable and they're stars. So I just want to say I made the same type of video for Yeet when he sold 55K. This is huge. This is a big moment for him. This is a big moment for Destroy Lonely. This is great. This is great. They should be popping champagne bottles and partying and doing all that stuff, because it's a huge sign. This is a great sign. It was meticulously planned out. It was perfectly planned. The rollout, the timing of the album, everything was perfect, and the results showed that. But still, this is huge. And I think Destroy Lonely is on his way to being a pretty big star in the rap game. And I think in a couple of years, we're going to be talking about him as one of the best up-and-comers, one of the best young superstars in the game. I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar, but you know what I mean by best young superstars, like one of the better artists who's younger and newer to this audience. And I think a lot of mainstream people are going to continue to have their eyes on him as they realize that he's different than Cardi, you know? Because a lot of people just think of him as like, oh, that's, you know, one of Cardi's artists. No, they're going to start to separate the two. They're going to see the differences, and they're going to start to establish a mainstream fan base for Destroy Lonely, because Destroy Lonely already has his own core fan base, but there's going to be a mainstream fan base that's going to start to develop for Destroy Lonely in the next couple of months to years as well. So this was all great. I'm super happy for Destroy Lonely. I like the project. I think it was a little long, but I did like the project. But all around, I would call this a W. So if you agree with what I said in this video, if you like the video, if you made it this far, please leave a like, leave a subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you think I'm wrong, if Destroy Lonely's a bum and his music's trash and he's going to fall off by 2024, tell me down below in the comment section. Tell me why I'm wrong. But either way, if you made it this far, thank you so much. Have a great day. Peace.